Once again, the Warriors have silenced any doubters, at least for the time being, as they confidently, confidently won Game 3 against the Rockets, 104-93. And I'm going to be honest, them winning without Jimmy Butler is a massive warning to the rest of the league, considering they did it relying on their defense. And yes, Steph Curry was amazing, and we'll get to that, but Draymond Green has to get his flowers. It seems like this man is always making the headlines for the wrong reasons, but his value to this team, to the dynasty they've been, it really is incalculable. I think immeasurable is actually the right word. But for him to anchor this defense against the number 2 seed without Jimmy Butler really is just a huge testament to what he's been doing this season. I know there are so many people saying his entire Defensive Player of the Year campaign is just him on his podcast, but no, there's a reason why people are talking about him like that. There really is a reason why he's in the conversation. And honestly, it's not just his defensive value. Him on offense, those picks he sets, the way he gets Steph open, but not just Steph even, the way he got Pozinski open and allows him just to go around the pick for a wide open layup, it's almost as if he deserves an assist for that. And it's because of Draymond, especially their half-court defense is so amazing. And you've heard Kerr talk numerous times about how if the Warriors, if they can keep the Rockets in a half-court set and stop those transition offensive plays, the Rockets cannot beat them. And the reality is that's the truth, and that's what we saw happen tonight. Of course, it does help when the Warriors defense plays as well as they do. I mean, Gary Payton II, he is such an underrated player. He always seems to make that energy play when he needs to, that defensive stop. And that last Warriors championship, he definitely played his role. That's really where he gained a lot of his reputation. If you paid attention, Quinn Post, he may not have had a very big offensive night with only 2 points, but he was still +7 and played an amazing defensive game against those Rockets, and he had 12 rebounds. Pozinski, again, he may have only been 1 of 6 for 3, but he still had 10 points. He was +13, and again, he was making plays when he needed to. Buddy Hield, Moses Moody as well, both chipping in 17 and 16 points respectively, and they both are hitting shots, it seems like, when they needed to most, and that's what you need from your bench, especially at home. And then that brings us to Jonathan Kuminga, who I actually feel bad for at this point. If there was ever a time he needed to step up, show his worth, add to the value of this team overall, it was right now, and he ended up being the only person in the starting lineup with a negative plus-minus. I don't want to say he looks lost out there, but I just don't feel that he's comfortable, especially comfortable enough to have your coach keep you out on the floor during these meaningful playoff games. Drink your water. Which then brings us to Steph Curry, who at this point just continues to further his case as to why he's such an amazing basketball player. I mean, I really can't express that I do believe he is the most entertaining sports athlete I've ever seen in my entire life. Not just basketball player, sports athlete. The way he just moves with and without the ball, and of course there's nothing in sports outside of maybe a Hail Mary or a deep pass in football, but when he shoots and lobs that ball into the air and it hits that top of its arc, and everyone just holds its breath until it goes through the net, I mean, I've never seen another athlete activate a crowd and take them to the level that they get to than Steph Curry does there in San Francisco. Do me a huge favor and hit that subscription button. 36 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. He played 41 minutes. I mean, this man stepped up for his team when it mattered most. And now the Warriors, they're kind of feeling like they did before they had their little tumble at the end of the season, before everyone was like, wait a second, maybe they're not as good as they are. But the Warriors have to be feeling pretty good going into Game 4, especially with Jimmy Butler having a few more days to rest. Which then brings us to the Rockets, and I have to say, I think this game really just shows their youth, their inexperience, especially against a team like the Warriors, who are just a dynasty built on experience. And when you don't have that one player, you know, I know they have Jalen Green, but he's just not consistent enough to just take it home. When you don't have that type of player, it just makes winning these types of games near impossible. I mean, the difference between the Rockets and the Timberwolves is that they have Anthony Edwards that helped bring the game home. When in this situation, Şengün and Green just don't seem to be mature enough, or at least, you know, capable enough to be able to do that against a team like the Warriors. The Rockets' leading scorer was Fred VanVleet with 17 points. I mean, there's no way that's going to win you a playoff game, especially in the Western Conference. And if you remember, the Rockets at the beginning of February, they lost 6 games in a row. And that's really stuck with me because, again, in the playoffs, you can't lose more than 4 games in a row. So if you're capable of losing 6 games in a row, 2 of which were against teams that you 100% should have beaten, I'm just not sure that's the type of team that's going to find success in the playoffs. Teams that win championships, they know how to plug holes, they know how to stop the bleeding. The Rockets are actually so young that they're kind of even learning how to know that they're even bleeding to begin with. I mean, the series isn't over. The Rockets could easily bounce back in Game 4 and then go home and win in Game 5, and then it's like, wait a second, But as of right now, the Warriors have to feel really good going into Game 4. What are your thoughts? What do you think needs to be the difference maker for the Rockets if they want to make a comeback in this series? And do you think the Warriors played well enough that Jimmy Butler should take Game 4 off, just let himself heal a little bit more? Alright, that's enough yapping for today. And if you enjoyed this video, think about watching either of these videos that's on the screen out there and do something great.